Hello, welcome to the Knit Girls. I'm Laura, also known as Lola.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It is Monday, August 10th,
So,
2015.
is Michael's birthday today?
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
He turns 34 tomorrow.
Aw, so
Um, yeah. He'll probably be as exciting for his birthday as I was for mine.
are you going to buy him a pie for his birthday?
Probably. We don't exchange gifts because our birthdays are less than a week apart, so it's basically like us handing money to each other. That's all it is. So we just don't. We'll go out for dinner this weekend or something probably, but
Really nice.
that's about it.
You could get lobster mac and cheese.
I could, but that would involve being at work.
I'm sure there's someone where not at work that sells lobster mac and cheese. I'm
Uh,
going to investigate this for you in my ample computer time tomorrow.
so this is not a show about lobster mac and cheese.
Oh, but if it was, it'd be so good.
This is a show about knitting. I am currently unknitting because I've got too many works in progress. This was a pair of that colorwork socks that I was doing that where the row gauge was all off, and I just hadn't ripped it out. So that's what I'm doing
I have a
now.
couple things to rip out too. That's the perk of like when Stash Dash is over, I'm ripping things that haven't been touched in 2 years off. Like
Yeah.
they're gone. Between the detention owl that I did this past winter and Stash Dash this year, like if it didn't get worked on in those two things, we probably need to move on with our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few exceptions, but for the most part, I need to move on with my life.
That's where I have too many things on the needles. I never used to have this many. And I don't mind having several things on the needles if I'm happy about all of those things.
So, how many things are currently on your needles once you get that ripped out?
Well, after this, I'm going to rip out the socks that I was knitting for my quilt person,
That
Margaret.
the size was off on.
The
They were
size
like
was super off,
2.99.
yes. So I'm going to rip those out, but I already have a pattern in mind to replace it. So after
So
I,
that's getting that cast on. So
yeah,
that's
they'll be cast on by next week. Um, but not counting that, I have the Bridgewater shawl, the Pebble Beach shawl, Trick sweater, which I'll talk about a little bit this week. Um, and that might be it. Well, and the socks. The socks will be cast on next week because I finished some things and oh, and the hand knit, the hand spun striped socks that I'm
okay.
using mine and Jess's hand spun together on.
Man, I have so many pairs of socks on the needles. Like I'm out of needles. I have so many pairs of socks on the needle.
Yeah, it's amazing how many pairs I find as I'm like, wow, I guess I really do have 5 pairs of 2.25 millimeter 32-inch needles. Who knew?
It's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, knitting. Do you want to go first or would you like me to?
I can because
Okay.
I'm kind of at a stopping point. I am knitting on two things right now. I am knitting on the heels of some Inspiration Dye Work socks. I don't think she's dyeing anymore. Last time I checked, which was back in May when these were being knit on before, she was not dyeing. But the shop was still up, but it had been empty for a long time. So I wish Etsy, I'm tangential today. I wish Etsy, like, it used to be when they had, like, sold stuff, they told you the date on which it sold. And they
Mm-hmm.
don't do that anymore. So, like, it used to be if I didn't know if a shop was still open or not, I could go in there, sold things, and I could say, oh, they haven't sold something for 2 years. Obviously, they're no
Right.
longer dying. They just have an empty shop. But now they don't do that. So I have no idea. It's so annoying. Anyway, first world Laura knitting
I'm
problem.
surprised you haven't used your superior internet stalking skills and just found them on Ravelry and checked to see if they have posted anything about it or see if there's a
I,
group on
I
Ravelry.
forgot to do that actually. I'm being super lazy. Anyway, so Inspiration Dye Work socks, they are being knit on 2.25 millimeter on my Nova Platinas. Um, oh, Nova Platinas. I laugh because they're merchandising, like on their needles. Their needle description was so hilarious. Do you
It
remember
was like
that?
adjective, 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 noun.
I do like some adjectives, and it was full of them. So I'm knitting the heels. I have the first heel. I snipped a stitch. I cut a stitch in the
Hmm.
middle and unraveled, and then picked up stitches very poorly. Like I was pulling when I was pulling it out, like I undid almost an entire row, which then I had to re-knit back up and go from there. But I'm on the heel and I am silencing my phone. It was silent all day, and then I had it unsilenced, so I would knew when Leslie was texting me. Um, so the first heel is almost complete, kind of, sort of. The second heel, I'll cut a stitch on that one and do it. I have this much yarn left, so I have plenty of yarn. Each of my socks takes around 350 millimeters, 350 meters.
Each sock or each pair?
No, each pair.
Okay.
Gosh, if I had 350-meter socks, like per sock, it would be like boat cozies. Um, but for my feet, which would be like boats. Um, so I bet you there's someone who watches
I
who
bet there
actually does.
is.
Um, so 350 meters per pair of socks. I have like 4 pairs of socks that I can finish before Stash Dash is over. I am, let's see, 200, 550, 650, 750. I'm around 1,050 meters away from the end. So if I finish all my socks by Friday, and it's just all of them are heels.
Actually, if you
Like
just
that's all
finish
I have.
3 pairs, you'll have hit that.
There we go. So next week might be the week of socks. So that's the first thing on the needles. And I love the colors and I really love the yarn. I wish she was still dying. For serious, yo. That's like, okay, so that's how my stash gets like crazy pants. Because I'm like, what if this person stops dying? I have to have all their, as I gesture with scissors, I have to have all their yarn. Because like this person, I only bought 2 skeins and I've knit both skeins and enjoyed them immensely. And now I will never have her yarn again. And that makes me sad. Unless she starts dying. I blame Cakewalk for this because if
I
Cakewalk,
know! Rose, come
man,
back!
she needs to. I loved her stuff, and now I'm like hoarding the 3 skeins I have like a freaking
I
dragon.
only have 2, I think, but it's like, I'll
Um,
never use it, it's too precious.
I know I really need to use it. That's ridiculous. It's sock yarn. It needs to be on my feet. But the other thing on my needles is Vesper, my Rainbow Love Rose City rollers. I try them on and they do fit.
Yes,
In
yes.
fact, I have to get down to a purple stripe and then I start the toe. So the first one is almost done, but because I'm not really counting the yardage for Stash Dash, it's just sitting here. I think I was on the red row last week and now I'm almost through yellow. It's very exciting. It's what I knit on as I read Ravelry. So you can see how much Ravelry reading I've been doing this week. I have some PMs, and by some I mean like 20 PMs that I need to reply to that people have been patiently waiting from like SSK. So I got to get on that. But it's blocked at work, so it's super inconvenient. And oh, I do have a third thing. Ha! I'm a total liar. I need to fix the show notes. I have some Purple Rain socks. I
Oh,
knew I
that
had
song in
something
my head.
else.
Purple rain.
Um, so these are the Purple Rain colorway by White Birch Fiber Arts. I'm knitting these for Amy of Ross Farms. She won a pair of hand knit socks as a door prize for SSK, and she picked out this yarn. They are going to have an afterthought heel. Um, she wants the cuff as long as I can possibly make it because she's going to wear them in boots. So I need to measure. This was the hand wound ball. It's much smaller than it was, obviously, because there's like.
So that's exactly half.
So, I don't know. I need to weigh. I need to see how much is left on here.
Oh, that's the whole skein. That's
That's the
all of it.
whole
Oh, okay.
skein.
Yeah, you
All
need
of
to
it.
weigh it, girlfriend.
Because now that I'm looking at this and this, I'm getting a little bit concerned.
I would, and then I would possibly do the ribbing and the heels in an alternate color.
Yeah, so I need to look at that and figure out what's going on. This all got knit during meetings last week
That's awesome.
at work. So, and it's on size zeros. So that made me super happy. She's got a little bit wider feet than me, so I'm think I'm doing 64 stitches. I think that's correct on size zeros. When I knit on size ones, I do 56. So that's about it. Oh, someone had commented. So I have 3 pairs of socks that I'm working on currently. Someone had commented on the episode thread for last week, that they never see me use DPNs. And that's because I use DPNs when I knit top-down socks. That's my preferred method for top-down socks. And you don't see me knit top-down socks very often. So
is it just because of the division at the heel to do
yes,
the flap? Okay.
Yes.
I was just wondering why it made a difference. But
Magic Loop drives me crazy with the picking.
I would hate to deal with DPNs for that.
Oh, that's perfect. You can divide it into equal numbers.
No, you're wrong. My opinion is right. Back me up, Internet.
I think we are going to have to agree to disagree on this one. But no, I only use DPNs for top-down socks, and you don't see me knit top, which is ridiculous because I like the fit of a heel flap. But for convenience, I just like toe up. I don't know what the deal is with my brain, but whatever. I do what I want. And sometimes I have Magic Loop, and sometimes I use 2 circs, and sometimes I use DPNs because that's the way I roll.
Because we are not the boss of you.
No one's the boss of me except for my mama, and maybe Wheezy. Sometimes. Wheezy is the boss of me because he's bossing me around about his stupid magazine subscriptions. So my parents are getting their mail forwarded to my house because they're on like a 3-month trip of awesomeness. So they sold their house in Hernando, which is close to me, and they moved to Knoxville. But because they were only going to be in that house for less than a week
before they left for their trip.
Yeah, before they left for this extended RV trip, the U.S. Post Office will not hold your mail indefinitely. So everything's getting forwarded to me, but magazines don't forward after 30 days. So I have to take pictures of all his magazines and tell him what his subscription number is, because it's on the magazine, so he can get them changed.
Wow, he is very organized.
He is. He's super wheezy. So that has to happen tonight. I need to remember that. So anyway, Wheezy is the boss of me. There's that. What are you knitting since I've been talking for freaking ever?
Well, I'm kind of in the middle of a lot of stuff. I'm knitting on my custom fit sweater out of Malintosh Sport in the William Morris colorway. I've finished all the pieces, and I just have a couple of little seams left, as well as weaving in the bajillion ends. I have tried it on and it fits wonderfully.
Good.
But it is a little big because of the weight of the yarn, but it's a super wash. So what I'll do is I'll throw it in the dryer for 5 minutes and check on it. And if that doesn't, shrink it a little, then I'll throw it in for another 5 minutes and check on it. Because it's a super wash, it's not going to hurt it to do that, as long as you are in moderation and you check on it. So,
don't put it in an oven.
Do not put it in an oven. That is a reference to Karen of Round the Twist, who put her Rhinebeck 2011 sweater
and it's been time
in the oven to try to finish the drying anyway, you have to go back and watch Round the Twist if you want that story. It was very sad.
Like, sad is not the word.
So I'm swatching, and then I will tell you my dilemma with my other sweater.
Uh-oh.
So I pre-ordered this yarn from Steve of Leading Men Fiber Arts, Steve and Andy.
He's got a podcast called Dramatic Knits, which is wonderful.
Yeah, that he and Callie do that. This one is the Copper Cloud colorway. It's in the Soliloquy base. So it's
that's great yardage.
Yeah, 657 yards of a BFL super wash, and it is this color. It's lighter than it appears on screen. It's a very glowy copper color.
It looks good with your skin tone too. On me, it would not look as good.
I saw it on Amy Beth's podcast. She was knitting a hat out of it.
A honeycomb hat.
Yes, and so I texted Steve, and I was like, "Yeah, you need to bring the sweater a lot."
Yeah, you need to just do this. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll bring you money. We can do the exchange. So I'm swatching. I have several fingering weight sweaters in my queue, and what I'm going to do is just swatch on two or three different needle sizes and see what kind of gauge swatch I get and go from there to pick a sweater.
So what style sweater are you thinking?
A pullover of some sort,
Okay.
not a cardigan, unless it's just a cardigan that blows me away that I really love. Um, but more likely, because it's going to be a fingering weight and it's going to take forever for my
Hmm.
size, because I have a 50-inch bust, not under bust, but full bust. So, people that have 32-inch busts, I mean, it's like knitting two sweaters. It's a lot of work for me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to at least be able to go in the round. So
How
it
about the
helps a little bit.
raindrops pattern by Tin Can
That's one
Knit?
of the ones that are on the
That's
list.
one that I'm going to start soon too. We
I
could be
love it.
sweater
We
buddies.
could. We could race.
We could race.
So this is in a size 5 needle, and the way that I keep track is I tie little knots on the end of the yarn, and then I can just count how many knots I have, and that's what size needle I use. I use the US sizing when I refer to that. So I knit a big swatch in the 5s. It's a little sheer, so it would depend on the sweater. And then I'm working on size 4. I'm almost done with this swatch in a size 4. But this color is so beautiful.
I like the size 4 better.
It's much denser. So it would be, I would just wear a cami or something under whatever the sweater is. But I really want to make sure I take good measurements before and after blocking, because I've gotten to the point where I almost never measure before blocking. So as
Yeah.
I'm knitting the garment, I don't know whether it's going to grow or not because I didn't measure before and after.
Yep.
So I really need to make a
Beck needs to do. Oh, Beck needs to do another
tag.
tag, but for sweaters,
Oh, for swatches?
like for
That would be
swatches.
an excellent idea. You should talk to her about that.
Mm.
Beck, who doesn't watch our
Because you
show.
could just, I know, like we're talking to her like she would know. Because you could just attach it and throw it in because you're writing it with
That would
like
be
Sharpie.
wonderful.
You could do how much it weighs because for custom fit you have to know how much your swatch
I'm
weighs.
going to make a note. Beck, swatch tags,
Yes.
and see if she can do it. I know she was ordering some of the paper. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm knitting right now are these swatches. And now comes my dilemma. So the other sweater that I have on the needles is Trick. It is a sweater by Asa Tricosa, and it's using the zigzag technique, which basically means you use one needle for the whole project. Starting at the back collar, you do a bunch of crazy directional stuff, and aside from you finish the body and then you start again at the sleeve and go down. Aside from that, you're using
Yeah.
one needle the whole entire time, which is cool. And I'm glad that I tried the technique. I don't know that I'll ever go through the trouble of doing it again, but
Do you not usually use one needle?
well, I mean, I guess, you don't have to separately pick up for edging or any of that. It's all built into,
It's all one piece.
right.
Okay.
So here's my problem. And maybe you can tell me I'm worrying for nothing, but I don't know that that's the case. So this is a DK weight sweater, and I'm using Hazel Knits Butternut DK, which is a Polworth silk blend.
You're not using hazelnuts.
Highland Handmaids. I'm sorry, did I say Hazel Knits?
You did.
Highland Handmaids is what I meant. That's Heather up in Maine.
Say what you mean.
I know.
Use your words.
So the body is done except at the edge. I didn't finish the edge. I put it on waste yarn because I was a little bit concerned about how much yarn I had left.
Yeah.
This is the total of the yarn that I have left. Okay? So total it's probably a skein, which is like 300 and something, 325 yards. Okay? So this is what I have left. I do have most of a sleeve done.
How much did that take?
I didn't weigh before and after.
Right.
But, so this is the right sleeve. This is a point where having a before and after swatch would have been helpful. So I've still got 4 or 5 inches to go, right?
I would abbreviate the sleeves.
Yeah, see, that's my question is, but how useful is a 3/4 inch sleeve?
All my stuff's 3/4 inch sleeves.
Yeah?
Yeah, every single sweater I've ever knit except for Washington Square and except for Washington Square. It's 3/4 inch sleeves.
Because the
Because
pattern
I
has
push
it.
mine up anyways. Like I always pushing my
Yeah,
sleeves.
I guess I don't know. I just worry about it hitting at a weird angle for me. But if I'm going to do 3/4 inch sleeves, I could probably rip back a little bit actually, because I have to do a little bit of ribbing at the end.
Yeah, how terrible. Like I wouldn't rip back too much
No,
though.
I would just say like an inch or so, just so that I could
Yeah.
include. That way, it doesn't hit me.
It still has the lace, but it'll
Right. And the lace is incorporated into the ribbing edge as well.
Okay.
But that was my concern. Like, should I just rip back and make it a half sleeve? Should I just rip this entire project out and just
No,
just
I wouldn't
burn
do that.
it? Like,
So,
I've gotten to that point where I'm
so
like,
why
I'm
don't you
so
do this?
sick of it.
Why don't you put that on holders and knit your other sleeve?
And see how much is left?
Mm-hmm.
Because I hate indecision. But yeah, I might. Because I have to leave enough for like 5 rows at the bottom for the edging.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you use like if you use one of those balls for, see if you had weighed your yarn before you attach it to your sleeve.
I know, but I didn't.
I know.
And I'm not ripping that sucker back out.
But was it like a fresh ball? Do you know?
No, they weren't fresh.
Okay. How much is the ball that's still attached to the sleeve?
Well, they're both attached.
Oh, they're both attached.
So, like, all together, it's probably a ball of yarn. I could take out the tags and then weigh it, and it would be able to tell me.
Well, it wasn't fresh balls, though, when you started, right?
Mm-mm.
So you used less than half of that.
So I should have enough, is what you're saying.
You should at least have enough for a second sleeve. From where you are now.
Because I just want to be done with it. Like, it would be great if I could count it for Stash Josh, but really, I just want to be done with it.
So rip out that inch. Well, I would just put it on holder and knit the other sleeve. Then you have more ends, though. I would rip it back that inch, do your ribbing, finish that sleeve, start the other sleeve, get that sleeve done, and then just use what you have left on the bottom. But I would have weighed my yarn before.
Yeah, I know, because you're all, and that is a fact. That's not you being obnoxious, that's a fact. Because you would have been like, if I have this many grams and this many rows and this amount of time, like, that's the way you are. You are absolutely right, you would have, but I didn't. So, anyway, moving on. I do still have the Joker and the Thief on the needles.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it is just not calling to me at all. I keep pulling it out, trying to knit a couple rows, and I just get so god-awful bored with it that I put it away, so.
It happens.
That'll probably stay down here. I doubt it'll get worked on. But I do have a couple of FOs.
I would just, like, do an hour a day on it or something. Like, put on a movie. Put on an episode.
I have so much crap, though. I'm trying to, like, if I finish the trick, then yes. Yeah. I might do that for an hour a day. While I use my old lady tablet thing and read.
Start watching Murdoch Mysteries. You would like it. It's amazing.
So I don't think I have the tag for this one, so I don't know. So I used some Green Mountain Spinnery yarn. It's mule spun wool. That is not that color. And I have maybe 15 yards left.
You got that at Maryland Sheep and Wool this year.
And I was knitting a Ricky hat, and I was knitting it in the round. This is not been blocked.
So give me like a brief review of that yarn, because I'm thinking about doing a flax in a size for me, and I'd like to like a mule spun. I think would be perfect for that project.
Well, yes, because it's going to be loftier, so it's not going to weigh as much, and it's not going to pull on you as much. I really enjoyed knitting with the yarn. I mean, it is a little rustic, so it's not as smooth as like a Madelinetosh or something, but not in an unpleasant way. I would say it's similar to Shelter.
See, that's what I'm looking for, I think.
And the price point on it is great, so.
Do you remember remember how much it was?
No, I want to say it was like $12 or $14 a skein. I could be
How
wrong
many
though.
yards?
A little over 200.
Okay.
This is a smaller hat. It'll be for my son probably.
That's a good Kobe size hat.
Yeah, and I mean it could fit on me, but it's kind of tight. So I look like a condom with this hat on. So um, anyhow, so I finished that this week. So that's 200 yards ish.
Yeah.
And then I finished my bootstrap socks.
Oh, did you? I want to see.
Yes. And
These were for you, right?
Yeah, they're for me. They haven't been washed yet. A Laura Neal pattern.
It is.
Out of Sock Architecture.
She's got a Craftsy class as well, and we are Craftsy affiliates. So if you're interested, you can click through our website.
Yep, and we get a couple pennies off of that. So full disclosure. So they're a pretty good match. They're not a perfect match, but they're a pretty good match.
I like them.
This was the second one. This was the first one. And knitting this black yarn sucked a lot. It wouldn't be so bad if it was interspersed with black, but solid black for this much of the sock sucked a lot. But I am happy with how they look.
What day were you knitting it? Were you knitting it at night?
Yeah, usually I would knit it. But I mean, I have my lamp right here beside me. And it's not the stockinette part that sucked. It was this, I don't even know that you can see it, but this little textured section. Yeah. Every other row was a purl row, and I had to keep, every time I got to that row, I was like, oh, I can't tell. So, anyway, these were knit with the US 2.25 millimeter US 1 size needle. This is a Knitty and Color sock blank in the Galaxy colorway. And that's their size 9.5-ish. That's my size, so.
Oh my gosh, I have to rip back this heel.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Hilarious. This is why I should not be decreasing on a podcast. That is.
So you should put it down and talk about your finished object.
I will. I have 17 stitches on one side and 11 on the other.
Ooh.
Yes. All right, so the ends need to be woven in, and it needs to be locked, but I finished Flax out of JoJo Lantonic. It's a super loose gauge. It was originally meant to be a baby shower present back in January, sometime around there, February, I think. It is a tin can knits, and I got to like the sleeves, and I was like, I had a Susan B. Anderson cute little cardigan I knit in a class I took with her. So I used that as a gift instead. And the mother, like 4 days after the baby was born, was texting me pictures of him in his old man sweater. He was very chubby and cute. So Flax has a garter stitch detail down the sleeve. It is a free pattern by Tin Can Knits. It is well worth the money. But if you are looking to do like your first sweater ever, it is an easy raglan top down. They give lots of instructions and helpful hints and video tutorials. It is an awesome.
Tin Can Knits is great at your first anything. Like they've got a pattern for your first anything in their Simple collection.
Yes, definitely, and this is part of the Simple collection. I kind of wish I had done it out of better yarn. This is JoJo Lantonic. It's 100% acrylic. It wasn't a super. I got gauge, but it's not a super. It's not a super springy feeling sweater. I don't know. I just wish I had used wool, like a super wash wool. I do have the ends to weave in, and it'll get blocked, just wet blocked tonight, and then it'll be ready to go into the bag of baby knits that I pull out of when I have a baby shower to go to for work. Because
you know what that just reminded me of? I'm interrupting you, but
that's fine. I interrupt you all the time.
You talked about how you were going to wet block it and it's acrylic, and it reminded me of when I knit the first, or maybe it was the second Central Park hoodie out of the Berroco whatever. It was half acrylic. And this was when I was first knitting. It was probably the first sweater I ever knit in pieces. And I kept telling Laura, no, I'll just block it. It'll grow. And Laura's like, no, it's acrylic. And I was like, it's okay. It'll grow. And she's like, no, that's not true. It's not going to grow.
Not so much.
So.
That might have been
She was correct. Just as a matter of reference, it did not grow.
Uh, we are so ridiculous. The other thing that this will not grow either, and it's been blocked. The other thing that I knit is bamboo pop. It's the Belle Isle little baby dress, and
That's
it is
super
out
cute.
of bamboo pop. It's got this cute little pleat detail in the back. So that's the booty. This is the front. It was throwing me off because I'm so used to my numbers being the same on the back and the front, and that was not the case for this. It had a gazillion ends to weave in. I forgot how much I dislike doing necklines or shapes until I did this. It's knit from the bottom up. Oh, it's one of those things where, again, I wish I'd used wool, but it's not practical really for my climate for a summer baby garment to use
Yeah.
wool. This is the 0 to 3 month size. But the pattern picture for the Belle Isle is so much cuter than mine turned out, and it's just, I didn't use wool. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that. That scared me. It does not have that springiness. The smaller sizes have a button detail that needs, it's a um, two buttonholes that are done with the yarn over method, so I need to go into my button box and pull out some buttons so on, but then that'll be done. I do like the pleat. I might cast it on again. I have some, I think it used sport weight, so I have some Equity Sport in a light blue. Not this one. Hold on. This is a sweater's lot for me that I pulled out yesterday because I need to swatch. But I have a skein of this that I think will be enough for another one. And it's Sincere Sheep. It is the St. Bart's colorway, 100% Rambouillet wool. So the only downside of this would be it would have to go to another knitter because
hand
it's
wash.
machine washable. Yeah. It's hand wash. So I don't know. This might become something else. I have one skein of this. When Hank of Yarn was going out of business and everything was 50% off, I scooped up all the Sincere Sheep she had left. So I have 9 skeins of this in the purple, which is the Prayers to Artemis colorway. So this will be a sweater soon, which is why I pulled it out. I think that's about it for me. Yep, that's it for finished objects. I do have I have old project notes on here.
I was gonna say my Lily Pilly's on here. I need to correct that.
I was just looking at that and I got confused for a second. Okay. I do have some spinning. I have 4 ounces of Falkland that I spun out of some Southern Cross fiber in the Coron colorway. I started this during Tour de Fleece. Actually, it was the second thing that I started spinning, and then I took it off the wheel because I needed my wheel to loan to people at SSK. So it's a little bit overspun. It was very old fiber, like very, very old fiber. I don't know when David spun this. This is totally not his fault. This is my fault.
David spun this?
No, David dyed it. I'm sorry. Say the words you mean. Oh, brain. So it's Southern Cross fiber, and I think he dyed this back in like 2009, 2010. I bought it off of a D stash, and then it sat in my stash for a long time, for at least 3 years. So it got a little bit compressed, and I did the Malia trick where you whip it, and so that made it a little bit better, but it is overspun. When I knit it, you won't be able to tell. It's got a little bit, you can see, it's a little bit twisty. So it is 400 yards or 350 meters. So that is going towards my stash. That's why I only have like 1,050 left to go. I do have some other stuff on the wheels. I have like this is half done. That's another Southern Cross that had started. I have another Hello Yarn that's like the first bobbin's done. So I could legitimately finish those and not have to knit socks, but I should finish socks. And now Humberto is sitting on top of the sock that I started ripping out because he's, oh, he might move. Come over here. Look, that's my hand. So that might happen instead of just knitting socks. We'll see. Depends on my mood. going to be hard to pick up stitches with a cat in my lap. We'll see.
Yeah, you should probably hang that up and we can review this book.
There we go. All right, so we have the Berroco Portfolio, Volume 1.
Yep.
Amy
Christophers
was nice enough to send this our way. She is now one of the is she the director of pattern support?
She is the design director.
There we go. That's a good title.
It's on her card.
Oh, there is a card in there. Look at that. So she is the design director for Berroco. We had her teach at SSK a couple years ago.
Yes.
And she is a lovely person and has great designs.
So Berroco has both in-house designers and, of course, their more well-known yarn lines. Everything in the book is knit out of a Berroco alpaca or ultra alpaca.
Yeah.
So everything in this book is knit out of one of those yarns.
So ultra alpaca comes in 4 weights. It comes in fine, light, which is a sport weight, classic, which is worsted, which I have some of in the stash. I think I have a sweater's worth in the stash somewhere, and chunky.
Mm-hmm.
So the purpose behind the styling of this is to be very timeless and classic, but yet it would fit into a modern wardrobe. And I feel like they've accomplished that. There's some really pretty pieces in here.
Yeah, and the photography is well done, it can be a toss-up with a line that has both really top-end yarns as well as some more affordable yarns with a 50% or higher acrylic content.
But this is all alpaca. There's no acrylic in here.
Right. I just mean the line itself. So it's nice to see some very well done photography mixed in with these pieces.
Yeah. So the way this book is set up is it's all the pictures of the patterns are in the front, and then you go to the back for the actual patterns.
Right.
There's a gorgeous shawl called Nest.
Yes.
And that is out of the fine, I bet you. I have a feeling. It is a little bit, it reminds me of the old Vogues and interweaves.
The way that they're divided up, yeah.
Yeah, having to flip back and forth. So it uses 2 skeins of Berroco Ultra Alpaca Fine. So a total of 100 grams. I wish I had the yardage. That would be helpful for changing out stuff. But I think it does in the back, yes. So if you're curious as to what everything in this book, what it calls for, there's actual pictures of the yarn in the back. And like Berroco Ultra Alpaca is worsted. It comes in 79 shades. It's 215 yards. All of these are a 50% alpaca, 50% wool blend, except for the fine, which is a wool alpaca nylon blend, because it's a fingering weight, so they're kind of marketing it towards socks as well.
And you need nylon in, or another very long stapled fiber.
Yep.
So the second pattern is Helen, which is by Amy Christophers, and it goes from 33 up to 51. And it's a very simple, pretty, top-down raglan sweater. Yep. It's a very unisex sweater. The colors chosen for this one make it a little feminine, but you could just change the colors and then it would be perfect.
There's some nice schematics. There's some nice clear charts, both in color and black and white, for the lace, so everything's nice and clear, easy to read. It is a large book.
Yeah.
Height-wise, it is very large. So it's one of those things that if you have smaller bookshelves, might be a little bit of a struggle to get on. I like Gorse by Bristol Ivy as well.
I do as well.
Alpaca, so it's in the worsted weight.
And it goes from 33 to 56 inches.
I like the fact that they've got the full view, for sure. They've got, on this one at least, they've got the seam, the sweater seam details. So you can see it's a raglan. Ooh, that business card just fell out. They've got a back view, which includes a back view of the collar, which looks like it is seamed together or Kitchener together.
Yeah, that's, it comes up through the top and then it's Kitchener.
And they've got a side view. So all the views, the photography is great in that it represents, and then all of the views of it. And each sweater has that. Like the next sweater is by Thea Coleman, and it's rye.
Hmm.
And again, you've got the sleeve detail, a full shot of the front.
It goes from 36 to 60 inches across the bust. In the back, it does tell you what size is shown, but it doesn't give you the model's measurements, so take that into consideration. Um,
Fishbones is a hat by Mary Jane Mucklestone. I really like that
I
one.
do too. It's simple, but it's gives a lot of pop, a lot of effect for the three colors that are used.
That is out of Berroco Ultra Alpaca Light, so a little bit more of a time commitment because it is fingering weight. I think my favorite piece in here is Mrs. Watson by Martina Bam.
Yeah, I like that as well. And it uses two colors of Berroco Ultra Alpaca Light.
This is the one when I was reading through, it's got a center double decrease, but it doesn't tell you how to do it. So I need to look and see if there's errata for it. I didn't do that. I meant to do that before we started recording.
So by that you mean it had CDD, but it didn't tell you what CDD
Yes.
was.
Yes.
Not that you didn't know how to do a center double decrease.
Well, there's different ways of doing it.
Right.
So it's interesting. I mean, you can always play with it too, but I like to know what the designer did. It does talk about where they photographed the
At
pieces,
the wool mill, at the
which is a cotton spinning
Slater
mill,
mill.
Slater mill.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually a museum that's dedicated to the Industrial Revolution. So it does give a little shout out to that.
I like the banner sweater. It goes from 36
Ew.
to 56 inches.
It is a chunky weight,
It is,
so
but
it's very
it's
warm.
also got this detail that starts on the side bust and goes down through the hip.
Yeah, like the little flags.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of detail to help create lines and direct to the eye where you want it to go. So that's always helpful, and the two colors gives it a little bit of interest. And
I like
the
Go ahead.
Pietra.
So, yeah, I do, but I'm not certain how it would look on me. I need to see it on a couple more people, but just because the collar, I'm not certain how that would be.
Yeah,
But it's
it
almost
goes
a tunic length.
from 32 to 52 and a quarter. And this is
Uh-huh.
the kind of thing that, depending on like that, like Laura, the collar makes me a little anxious. But if it worked, it would be something I would wear
It's
all
totally knit
the
sideways.
time.
Did you
Yes,
see? It's
because
totally
of the way the cables are done.
yeah, but also the whole it wasn't like it was picked up. If you look, the whole piece is knit sideways
Right.
with like welting. Like that's why the ribbing kind of looks like welts, is because it's going the opposite direction. That's interesting.
And see, I would
It's
wear
like
something like that all the time at work because I just wear solid colors. I don't tend to do anything too trendy. So I would wear that
yeah.
all the time.
There's some other things. There's a poncho, a couple pairs of socks, another sweater.
I like the Chaparral sweater by Amy Miller. I don't. It's Berroco Ultra Alpaca. It's let's see what the sizing is on that one.
I feel like it needs a button band. It's bothering me because it doesn't have a button band.
It's 38 and a quarter up to 61 inches. It
Just
does
because,
it
yeah.
does look a little incomplete. I don't want to say unfinished because it doesn't look unfinished. It just looks like there's
Because
something
it's rolling in over those
right.
cables, I feel like.
I do think it's beautifully done though. I do
It's
love
different. If you're not like me and focused on that.
it does have the drop shoulder, so it's not going to be a typical shoulder where it actually goes up over the top part of your collarbone.
I love the fact that they did such great pictures of the shoulder details.
Yeah, that is something that some of our previous book reviews could take notice of. But yeah, like Laura said, there's socks, there's ponchos. There are, what, 13, 14 patterns in here? 12, 13 patterns in here.
It's Berroco Ultra Alpaca's 10th anniversary, which is what this is
Right.
celebrating.
And I love that they do a visual index of the designers. I think that's a great way to give tribute to the people who help write in the book. So overall, thumbs up. I appreciate that they went up in sizes, much higher than a lot of other sweater patterns do. Not most, a lot of sweater patterns tend to sort of like end at 44 or 46, like that's the end of the world and there's nothing past there. And a lot of these went up into the high 50s and a couple into the low 60s. So
And it's a pretty book. Like, it could
it is. It
definitely
is
be a coffee table type
a
book.
visually pleasing book. And the patterns in this book are sold individually. You don't buy the whole book. I guess you probably could, but you buy the patterns individually for, I want to say they're like $5 or $6 on Ravelry.
I wonder if you could get the book from your local yarn shop.
You probably could. I just don't know what the total cost would be.
Yeah.
But
It's,
I prefer items where you can buy them individually, to be
yeah.
completely honest, because I wouldn't knit every single pattern in this book. There are probably 3 in here that I would reasonably knit. So for me, it would be more economical to buy them individually.
So just talking about the styling on this, because we didn't really, I like how the styling especially is the knits take center.
Hmm.
It's not
Yeah, the
styled
models
to
are dressed very demurely, very
appropriately. Yeah.
simply. Single colors are very low monochrome. It's beautiful. The background is beautiful, but your eye goes straight to the knit,
Yep.
not to the background. So
Yep. So I think this book does everything right.
I wonder if it
So
tells you
you,
who the photographer is in here.
oh, that's actually really good.
Maybe we'll have to ask Amy who the
I have to ask
photographer
Amy
is.
because it was very well done.
Yeah, they did a beautiful job on it. So
Um, so I really like this. I think
mhm.
that you can tell that Amy is spending a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it is really, really well
And I
done.
can see her voice in a lot of these photographs as well.
Yeah,
So
it's a good cohesive collection.
mhm.
It is reminiscent of Jared Flood to
Yes,
some degree.
yeah, it
So
is very. I hate to say simple because that downplays it, but
no, I
um,
think it shows the aesthetic that they're looking for, which is garments that will fit into an everyday wardrobe that are usable but
right,
also very stylish.
not overly complicated, just functional and beautiful.
There you go. So we have a question
Yep,
from
Laura
Laura
Phoenix.
Phoenix, who says, I don't know if this has been asked yet, and I'm a new watcher, but I'm curious, cables or lace? Lace or cables, actually, if we're reading things correctly.
I would say I can screw them both up equally, and I have on occasion. I once, not too long ago, knit a shawl that was 2/3 on one side and 1/3 on the other, and it wasn't supposed to be.
Oh, that was the Wendy Johnson mystery
Yes, that
show.
was last year's Stash Dash where I was trying to finish it. I've screwed up all kinds of cables.
Which do you I mean, we can equally screw up things pretty consistently across the board. Which do you prefer to knit?
I I think if there's a restro on the wrong side, then lace. I would say lace would be my preference, just because. And this is a total ridiculous answer. You get more bang for your buck with lace because it stretches. And so 100 yards of lace is going to take you a lot further than 100 yards of cable, because cable eats yarn like it's going out of style.
Because those crosses eat yarn.
Right. Um, so I love the look of cables. I just think overall lace is generally easier for me to do. How
I
about
would
you?
say lace is probably my preferred. I prefer reading the charts on lace better than cables. I don't know if that is just I don't do enough cables, but I prefer just the action, the physical doing of lace better than the physical doing of cables.
I would say
So
that's pretty clear in the projects that you knit, especially.
there's very few cables.
Yeah, you knit a lot of shawls with bits of lace detail, or
Yes,
your
that's true.
sweaters will have a little bit of lace at the bottom, or whatever. I would say that you're definitely more a lace than a cable girl.
That's for sure. Just the act of doing it is my preference, but to each their own. I also think like with fiber choices, sometimes cables not only like alpaca, since we were talking about alpaca, tends to get more bulky to some degree when cabled.
Yeah.
Where lace for me, so it would add a little bit of weight So piece, whereas lace for me is the opposite.
Well, and I feel like you were talking about, yarn choice. I think anything with a halo is probably going to do, anything with a significant halo is going to do better in a lace than it's going to do in a cable. It's going to look nicer, in my opinion. Which,
Two plies are always going to look nicer in cables versus, or I'm sorry, two plies are always going to look nicer in lace versus cables, which look nicer in a three ply because they bounce. So,
is this
this is
the
the bounce.
hand signal for balance?
Well, here's the deal with two plies. So two plies are oblong like footballs, and so the openness of the lace actually shows them off better than a three ply, which the bounce of cables show off three plies better.
Well,
There
all
you
right
go.
then. So, as far as reading, this week I read a book that Laura gifted me for my birthday called Moon Called. It's
Oh, there you
Patricia
go.
Briggs. It's a whole nother series from the Kate Davies or Kate Daniels, not Kate Davies, books.
No,
And
it's by Patricia Briggs. Kent Daniels is Alana
Alana
Andrews.
Andrews. You're right. I don't know why I got those confused.
They're
The
similar.
genres are kind of similar, but
Yeah, they're both paranormal, urban paranormal is what they call that genre. Urban paranormal fantasy.
fantasy, yeah.
There you go. Or urban fantasy, I think, is what the technical term is.
And then I read a duo. It's not a trilogy. It's a duology. Um, it's called the Broken Mirrors duology, and it was kind of fantasy with a little bit of steampunk in there, which I don't typically go for steampunk. I don't know. There are some things that when I read books, I immediately, if the book is about ghosts, I don't care. I'm done. I have no interest whatsoever.
Yeah.
There are some
Yeah.
things like that, and that since I was a kid, anything that's like Western themed, like Old West, I don't care. I don't want. I don't want. Not, and it's not even so much that I don't care. It's like I have a specific desire to not be involved with it, and I don't know
Like
why.
you like Firefly, and that
I
is
do like
very,
Firefly,
very Western in its genre.
so I guess there's an exception to every rule, but
Space Cowboy is the exception.
yeah. Well, naked Nathan Fillion. What can I say?
Yeah, hard
Um,
as that.
so those are the books that I'm reading. Another one now, but I can't remember the name of it. So,
I'm super lazy for Leslie's birthday because I haven't knit her anything. I gifted her books and Kindle.
and I made you a quilt.
I
No,
know. I'm so super lazy.
it always evens out. I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, well, you'll get something hand knit. It's just I'm getting too.
Plus, you did hand knit me a wedding shawl with beads.
Hmm. But that wasn't for your birthday. I
Still,
handed you a pig for your birthday last year,
you
and
did.
I'm
It's
gonna
right
top
there.
that. Leslie, I asked Leslie what she wanted hand knit for her birthday, and she said a mochi mochi zoo.
Yeah.
So that might happen.
Just that was just me being obnoxious and you having to use DPNs for little things. I mean, don't get me wrong, a
It
Moshi
might
Mochi Zoo would
happen.
be hilarious, but it would take you like 4 hours for something this
I'm gonna knit
big.
you the donut book. Like I'm gonna go through this book
You totally
and
should.
knit you a donut. What else could I knit you from this
The
book?
crazy microwave.
Oh, that would be. There's a blimp. I like the carny elephant actually. You might get a carny elephant. Just wait and see. Now you've opened this can of worms.
So, what have
Um,
you read this week?
oh, I am reading two things. I am reading a book for work that is Reading in the Wild by Donald Miller. It is very, very good, and I am enjoying it immensely. So that's what I'm reading at work when I have 5 seconds to sit and read. And the other thing, I think I'm on page 20 of that. The other thing that I read this week was the new Kate Daniels book by Alana Andrews. It is
Magic something.
Magic Slays, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
Magic Shifts. There we go.
Oh,
Magic Shifts. It's number 8.
I
I
haven't read it.
liked it. It's getting to the fine line of how many books are too many books
Yeah.
in the series.
So, what's the general plot in this one?
So the general plot is,
I know Curran is
well,
no
I
longer the
don't,
Beast Lord, right?
yeah, I don't want to really, if you haven't read the series, I hate to give stuff away because it is a pretty, book 7 was a pretty dramatic shift. So this is life after book 7.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, yeah, basically life after book 7, like what happens, and also going more into her relationship with her father. Um, and the Mercenary Guild plays a big role in this one, which is funny because that was a big role in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of coming a little bit full circle. There isn't really an end in sight yet. Like, I'm waiting for that big showdown between her and her father.
Right. So that doesn't happen in this book.
That hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
I need to reread it because I read it really fast with very little sleep this past week. So I kind of did like my skim read thing. But I need to, because I have a question about if someone died or not. I need to, because I feel like I missed an important element. Well, it was a minor character. It was one of the vampire people.
Oh.
But I need to go back. And,
Yeah, I found that was an interesting in this series. For those of you who care, in this fantasy paranormal series, vampires aren't sentient. They're sort of mindless, violent creatures, but they're piloted by what's called Masters of the Undead.
It's kind of like zombies would be, I guess.
So somebody who
like
has a telepathic power basically goes into their brain and controls them, and can control an army of them depending on their skill. So it was an interesting take on it for me. So anyway, favorite things, SSK haul from Laura.
Yes, I'm still off. I'm gonna have to rip back more. I don't know.
You know you can't fix that on camera. It's never gonna happen. It's only gonna get worse.
It's getting better. Like, it's 19 and 21 now, so it is better. I just need to figure it out. Or 23.
So this is all stuff that Laura got from the SSK market.
That is true.
And this is our safe space with no judging.
I don't care if you judge me. You're not the boss of me. Oh, I lost the business card though. Oh, there it is. So the only thing I'm not showing is from Ross Farms. I got a gallon jug of Power Scour, and I was supposed to get a fleece, but
Mom got there first.
she did. So Mama Linneman went up to Ross Farms and was like, Laura said for me to pick up her fleece, and she bought it, and then she kept it. And I didn't tell her to do that. Like, she just took it upon herself to jack my fleece. And then her fleece accidentally...
Jack My Fleece is now the name of this week's episode.
And then her fleece accidentally got picked up by someone else, and their fleece got left. It was this whole... I told her it's all karma, but she got her original fleece back. And actually, when I went to visit them after they moved, it ended up in the trunk of my car for me to wash for her. So it's a good thing I got that gallon jug of Power Scour. It's a Shetland fleece. It's very nice. Wheezy and I were discussing fleece selection the other day, and I was showing him how to select fleeces.
And you know what? He'll remember that 5 years from now.
I know. It was a father-daughter bonding moment. He's probably talking about it to someone at the Frog Rally right now. The very first thing, which was the very first thing I bought, just so exciting. I love it so much. This is the Sprinkle Cone Thematic. It is by Wool Pierogi. She is amazing. She just got back from, she vended Stitches Midwest this weekend, so her shop might be very empty, but it is well worth the wait in the stocking to try to find her stuff. It's 4.1 ounces, organic Polworth, colonial wool, and then wool neps. So it's this natural colored, and then, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see
pops
them?
Of color, yeah, the sprinkles.
Yeah, there's these little sprinkles that are wool neps. So I'm super excited to knit it, to spin it and then knit it. Who was it? Someone, Bella Socks, had a shawl that she had done.
Out of that colorway, yeah.
Yes, that was just gorgeous. She got it last year and spun it. It's been something I've been like waiting to get, but I was like always waiting because I know Becca, so I can get Becca to get me special orders at any time. So that makes me sound spoiled, but I am. So other things in that booth, I got a lotion stick in our blueberry lemonade scent from Martha, who is Tuft Woolens, and she does amazing sock soap. But she also does these really cool lotion bars, which I love. I have 2 now, and I love them so much. Once winter comes, and I know they won't melt in the 105 degrees that my front porch gets during the summer, I'm going to order some more from her. Also in that booth is Jelby, and I got a new stitch marker tin
Oh, it's
with
Jane
stitch
from
markers.
Firefly.
Yep, and I also got some SSK stitch markers, which are already in use. But yes, it's Jane from Firefly. She did some ring markers, and then there's one detachable one. And I love her tins. They're all hand felted, so she
Mm-hmm.
does that work herself. And they're just really, really nice. She had Star Trek ones. She had Doctor Who TARDISes. Um, she had just amazing things, and her wishing sheep are super cute. Other things that I got from Knitting Rose Yarns, I got a gradient in her Blossom sock yarn in the
Ooh,
Justified colorway. Isn't that
I
pretty?
didn't even see that.
Superwash merino nylon. I don't know. I might be a sockhead hat because I love it that much. Like I think it'd be fun to do a sockhead hat. It might become a shawl. I haven't decided yet. It's a good bit of yardage, 437 yards, and then I could stripe it with something else if I wanted to. So it's a bright blue, a brownish gray, and then a pure gray. And y'all know how I feel about gray. Um, when we went to House of Yarn, I'm skipping around because things aren't together. But when we went to House of Yarn, I got a skein of Cormo.
Oh yeah.
This is from Elemental Effects. Did you get one of these too?
No, but I remember you getting it.
I tried to force you into getting
You
it. It
did.
is a U.S. yarn company, Elemental Effects. It's homegrown, hand dyed, and spun in the U.S. I always appreciate breed specific yarn, but the fact that this was U.S. was a bonus. And it says Cormo wool is a long staple. I feel like that's not
That is
correct,
not a fact. No.
but lustrous fiber that is soft against your skin. A favorite of hand spinners, this fine fiber is now available as an easy to love knitting yarn. Be pleasantly surprised by the inherent springiness of the yarn and the soft hand and its resilience to pilling. I don't know that the resilience to pilling is true.
That I can't say, but if it's a, I
But
mean, Cormo's a shorter fiber, so it's more likely to
yes.
pill.
So we're gonna give it a try. It's squishy and it makes me happy. It is 250 yards of a 3-ply worsted. So it is going to be a hat, I believe. Probably a hat, maybe mittens. I haven't decided yet. Other things that I got, we went to, what was that other yarn shop that we went to? Not Bliss this time. We didn't have time to get to Bliss, but we went to, is it Fiber South?
Craft South.
Craft South, and they also carry yarn. And I like Sincere Sheep, in case you didn't get that earlier in the podcast. This is Sport. It's their Silken Sport. It's a 70% domestic merino, 30% cultivated silk. Again, this is handmade in the Napa Valley, California. It is another great. She does tons of breed specific stuff, and she uses natural dyes. So, as well. Speaking of natural dyes, from Craft South, I also got CFC Merino Worsted, which is 100% merino wool. Oh, this is going to be a shawl, probably a Piper's Journey. Um, it's 100% merino wool, 215 yards. It is naturally dyed with indigo and rhubarb. Rhubarb are, can you see the little yellow dots every once in a while?
Mm-hmm.
That's the rhubarb, and the indigo is the blue. So this is going to be something for me. It's Camilla Fiber Company. It is handmade in Davidson County, which is in Nashville, Tennessee. So excited about that. Let's see. From Fiber Optic, I got I got a Footnotes box. This is Fiber Optics Paint Box Gradients in the Footnotes yarn. This is Smoke on the Water. So it goes from a gray up to a light blue. And I got Razzmatazz to go with it to do another stripe study.
That'd be a good color combo.
Because I am addicted. From Gail's Arts, I got, and she looked at me when I bought it, and she's like, "Are you buying that for you?" It is her Wonder Sock, which is a superwash BFL nylon blend. This will be socks. It is the New Leaf colorway. This might be my Halloween socks this year, because I always do like a fall Halloween.
Yeah.
Sock. So that will be perfect for that. From Acreworks, I got another hedgehog.
Yeah, I
Because
got a
you
red
can
one.
never have too many hedgehogs.
I discovered that they can pass almost completely through a pit bull's intestines. Completely. Just FYI, in case you need to know that
Oh,
information.
so
So I
Buffy.
had to get a replacement at SSK.
That's awesome. Oh, Buffy. Oh, Buffy. Um, just took that off. So I got one of his shorter spindles, and he sells them in piece. I love the cap that comes. So this is Acreworks, and he sells 3 different lengths of spindles, and you can move. I think that moves up and down. Yeah, you can move that up or down. And then he debuted the 5 whorls
Mm-hmm.
at SSK. So I got one of those in teal. And then I got a teal bobbin for my shocked. So
They were all gone, all out of shocked by the time I got there.
oh, I moved faster than you.
You did. I was enthralled with the 3D printing.
I know he had his 3D printer and was doing like demos. Actually, he was super sweet, and like there were a couple kids that were there,
Yeah.
and he was making like 10-sided dice. What are those called? Deca.
Dodecahedrons.
Yes, and bracelets for them and letting them design their own stuff.
Yeah.
It was very cute. Extremely cute. So that's bag number 1. Bag number 2. There's 3. From Knitting Color, I got 2 things of fiber. This is a superwash targi, which I've never spun before. Ultralight at Night is this one. This is going to be something for the nieces. And then for me, I got Early Fall. So 2 things of superwash targi. Probably mittens for both, I'm thinking at this point. From Sun Valley Fibers, I got Labyrinth, the kit for the Susan B.
Oh,
Anderson
yeah.
shawl.
Mm-hmm.
So this is her MCN blend. It is merino silk, cashmere, fingering weight. This is the Labyrinth colorway. It's nice, pretty green. I like greens as well, and it's nice and shiny. And there's 2 skeins of that, and there's a bunch of other stuff in that kit as well that I removed. What's going on?
Oh, my dear sweet husband is down here trying to distract me
Oh.
and injured himself in the process and made me.
That's hilarious. From Sheep to Reamery, I got the Chemist Fine Tints and Shades. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% silk, 870 yards of lace weight. So it's a gradient. So that's going to be a shawl. From Dramatic Knits from Leading Men Fiber Arts, I got the Royalty Gradient.
Oh, that's pretty.
Since I am the Empress of Stash Dash.
It is purple.
It is. Oh, guess what color I got to go with it?
Gray.
This is Soliloquy, which is the base that Leslie's using right now. It's
Yeah.
657 yards, superwash BFL, 100%. It's going to be a shawl. Maybe another stripe study.
It's beautiful.
A giant stripe study. I don't know. It might also be, it could work for Joker and Thief.
Yeah.
So it might be that instead.
Well, Melanie Berg's got several shawls like
yes,
that would work.
Stuff. From Highland Handmaids, I got Witchcraft and Wizardry, which
I got that one.
There's more in here, but I'll come back to those when I find them. From Miss Babs, I got a skein of Yowza in Coffee Break because I had sold mine to Eloise because she needed Yowza for Yowza shawls, so I just took that money and put it back towards another one. I also got Kira, which is a 4-ply fingering yarn. I think this is their new one. It's 560 yards. So that's going to be probably like a hitchhiker or a sideways shawl, something like that, that I can get a lot of yardage out of. And that is in the Terra colorway. I also got the SSK colorway.
Yeah. Something guitars
as
or
much
music.
purple as I could. This is the Tarte base, and it is...
Yeah, that's the same one I got.
Yeah. Superwash Merino Nylon Tencel, 500 yards. I can't find the colorway name on it, but it was Center Stage. There we go.
Center Stage.
For SSK 2015. Look at how much more purple mine has in it than yours.
Mine has more red.
It does. That works out
Clearly, I've put everything away. And it's not just in a Ziploc container right here. Ooh, deep sea jellyfish.
No.
Doesn't have enough gray for that.
Zombie prom.
Oh, okay.
This is enough to do, this is, I don't know.
It's
That
like
word.
Volmaz. Oh, Katadin?
Yes, it is a 4-ply fingering yarn. 100% BFL, 1,750 yards.
Yeah, so it's a Volmaz lace equivalent almost.
I would say so, yes. They say it's fingering weight. It feels a little bit thicker than Volmaz lace.
Oh, yeah, because Volmaz is labeled as a lace, so.
It's a heavy lace, but it's maybe a light finger, and this is a little bit heavier. So maybe I'll do my sweater, my featherweight out of that. Because then
that's pretty colorful for a featherweight.
It is. But it's a simple pattern. We'll see. It depends on how it is doing.
I am not the boss of you, but I would not recommend that. Are you making faces at me?
No, I'm making faces at myself. I'm thinking. I don't know. We'll see. It would also, it's a little bit variegated, but it also could do,
I would make some sort of like...
a new Vem.
Yes, something like a Nuvem or one of those shawls that Taj had at SSK. Well, yes, but I'm thinking of the big purple one. It's not the Nuvem.
I don't know. We'll have to look through
I
her
can't
stuff.
remember, but it was Taj.
Then,
Come to the group and tell us what it was. I can't remember.
I always say Taj's name wrong. It's hilarious. Their 3-ply DK weight yarn.
Kuia?
Sure. This is zombie games. I was very into zombies this time.
I like that. I like that really rich blue with the green and black.
Baby sweater because it's 100% superwash merino. 3-ply DK, 280 yards. Something like an offset Raplin. I also got Poor Lost Circus Performers from Palette Handmaids. She had so many.
That one was gone by the time I got there. I got the man in black.
You move slow.
Apparently.
And then at House of Yarn, I also got the Wonderland Yarns Messenger Kit.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, as it falls. But the pattern's actually on here.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like an asymmetrical shawl thing. Last bag. I pre-ordered the Pet Squirrel bag for SSK. I got the blue one. So it's just one of her large wedges with a natural inside, and it's got the little
tag.
SSK 2015 because I am a sucker for anything that says SSK on it. Just throwing that out there. Oh, this is a lot of another crafty girl. Okay, Jinx Yarns. I got Grainbow.
Mm-hmm.
And I also got House Cup, which Leslie showed you the other day. Grainbow does, I got Superwash BFL nylon for both, 464 yards. Grainbow goes red, yellow, green, blue, purple, light purple, but it's all grayed. Does that make sense?
It's washed out.
It's a washed out rainbow, and then House Cup, of course, goes through the House Cup colors. So that's exciting. I wish I had gotten the Haunted Carousel one that you got. Whatever that one was.
Yeah. Haunted Carnival or something Carnival.
Yeah. So another crafty girl, I spent too much money, and actually she's doing a special order for me tonight because she debuted a sport weight sock yarn at Stitches Midwest. So I'm getting a skein.
So they didn't have it. She didn't have it at SSK.
No, it was a Stitches Midwest thing. So of her merino worsted, which I love, it's an awesome base. I got Painter's Palette, which is a board game reference, I believe. I got Floating Lanterns, which is another board game reference.
Ooh, that's pretty.
It is really pretty.
I think that's the one I got that you got too.
I think so. Out of her bulky, which I love for like quick hats, I'm gonna do one of those, another Insta hats by Lethal Knits. This is the TheKnitGirlls. Leslie's on it. I've bored Leslie.
Abandoned Carnival. I was looking for this because I couldn't remember what it was. Sorry.
I also got. How dare you not pay attention to my 800 skeins of yarn? I also got small but plentiful. This is in Strong Sock, which is a two-ply merino nylon blend, which I love. I got, this is one of the new dragon colorways, I think, Hidden Wings.
Wow, you really did hit that booth.
Shut up.
Did you get as much as Jessica?
No. Also on the sparkle, I got Galactic, which is a board game. It's really pretty.
It's gray and purple. Like, how can you not buy
No,
that?
it's green, gray, and purple. Totally different than everything else I own. I got this is the last one, The Vast, which I'm not certain which reference that is.
I think
Monkey's probably screaming at the screen right now. I love her stuff. Makes me super happy. From Mustache Yarns, I got OCDs in Dark Side of the Moon extended play. So this one has larger black and gray stripes with little stripes, pops of the color.
And one thing I really liked about Stacy's booth is that she had swatches of almost everything.
Yes. So did at Stitches Midwest, White Birch Fiber Arts. I got sent pictures of her booth, and she had like little jars.
Did you have personal shoppers at Stitches Midwest?
No, because I didn't buy. Well, I did, but I didn't buy anything at Stitches Midwest. Because the colorway I wanted was the 4 colorways I wanted were sold out.
Oh.
So. Becca's sweet to me. Don't be dissing my Becca.
I'm not dissing your Becca.
I also got Modern number 8, which is...
That's a mustache?
Yeah, it's a mustache. It's nice and bright. It's another OCD. So all those bright colors. Those are totally going to be socks for me. My Christmas socks this year, Nutcracker Candy. Sarah D. Nitz and I both bought this one. I think. When she was bringing it in, and I was like, I really like that. And then she did an SSK colorway called SSK on My Mind.
I didn't know that. It must have been gone by the time I got there. Why did you buy all the stuff?
Why didn't you move fast?
I didn't realize she had an SSK
I'm like
color.
the Pac-Man of the SSK market. Jump.
Oh, I'm going to go cry into my yarn. I wanted that one. Show me again.
So it's yellows, and then like a white blue variegated with purples, and then a black.
Is it striped?
Yeah, it's a striper. It's a 4-striper. My lot number says SSK 2015.
Maybe I'll have to ask if I can special order.
Yeah, Stacey's nice. I'm sure she'd let you. She might have had some left over.
Maybe. I'll have to ask her. It's pretty.
Perhaps. I can't believe you didn't see that.
It wasn't there when I went by. At least I didn't see it.
Did you go by? If you went by before Mark, I think she had it the whole time.
Stop making me feel bad.
I'm telling you, I'm like the Pac-Man of the
You
SSK
are.
markets. And you're like one of the ghosts that got chomped up in my way with those candies. Oh, my brother-in-law so needs to buy a Pac-Man machine. Anyway. A Sparkle 8, which is the Cyborg's Craft Room. She is doing a sale this weekend, which
yes, 15% off.
All the things at SSK. This is Impromptu Dance Party. That's the one we both got.
Yep, I got that one too.
And then in her worsted, I got Space Princess.
That's pretty.
That's going to be something for a niece, I think.
Yeah, that's a great colorway for the nieces.
And then Wildflower, also a very niece color, but also a very Laura Catherine Linneman color.
That is a fact.
So, that's it. That's everything.
Is that all?
Maybe. I feel like I put some stuff away, but
that is entirely possible.
No, I don't think I did. No, but I did order stuff off the, so in the SSK goodie bags, people send us
yeah, and then freaking Sue's texted me about this one other dyer that
really?
We both ordered 3 skeins apiece from her.
Oh, Nomadic, yeah. I have some skeins of hers over there.
Yeah, I don't have any of hers, and she has a Rhinebeck colorway that is freaking gorgeous.
She's got pretty stuff.
So Sue's bought it, and then she sent me a picture, and then I was like, dang, now I need that. And then I went to her shop, and I'm like, I need all of them.
So this is it for me until I am planning on going to SAF, and I am not intending to buy any more stuff until SAF, which is the end of October.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not doing Rhinebeck this year. You should come to SAF.
I might. If it's just for a couple days over the weekend or something.
Yeah, I'm taking off. I'm putting away all my stuff, but I'm taking off Friday, I think, or Monday. I haven't decided yet. Both are available still on the calendar. So this is how my work works with taking days off. There is a giant dry erase board outside my boss's office.
So it's very high tech.
It's very high tech, and you write your name in dry erase marker on the date that you want to take off. But if anyone else has that date, too bad. Actually, one other person can have it, but most people write really bad. But that's how it works. So those dates are still like last year for yarn school. I immediately, like before school even started, I ran up there and put my dates on. But so SAF is an event, I'm backing up, that is in Asheville, North Carolina. And it is the weekend of Halloween this year. And Franklin Habit's teaching, and so is that awesome. I wanted to look at her for SSK. The person, Estelle Rogers, Jazz Turtle.
Oh, yeah.
And so is Judith McKenzie, but she's all booked out. And so are some other people that I wanted to look at. So I might take a class if I can. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm either going to take... It goes from a Thursday to a Sunday. But I won't take off 2 days. I'll just take off one. And then I'll go to Knoxville. And I will stay with Mama Linneman. And then I will drive from there the next day. So it's a 2-hour drive from where they live.
So I was just looking at the calendar as you were talking about SAF.
As I was blathering on.
No, you weren't blathering.
It's near Rhinebeck. That would be your main dilemma, I think.
Well, yeah, and that's not necessarily a huge problem, but I already have a lot of travel. So I leave for Murphy, North Carolina, which is where this new casino is opening, we're opening, on the 27th of September. And because it opens the next day. And then I'm there until the following weekend, which is the 4th of October. Spinzilla starts the next day.
Ooh, but that's a home event. That's not like a journey elsewhere event.
Well, Spinzilla is, yes, but it's a 12-hour drive from Murphy to my house.
And you're going to have to make sure your bobbins are empty before you leave.
Well, that's not much of a problem because I don't spin as much as you. So usually I'll start something and finish it within a couple weeks because I just don't spin as much. And then after that, I've got the following week is Rhinebeck. Like 3 days after the end of Spinzilla is Rhinebeck. And then a week after that is, no, a week and a half after that is SAF. So.
But you could bring Kobe and Michael to SAF because they could do.
Yeah, like, Michael probably wouldn't come, but Kobe would.
Well, they could do hiking in with Wheezy because Smoky National Park's right there near their house, and so is Tail of the Dragon and some other stuff. So he might like it because it's like mountains hiking. There's whitewater rafting, which that's late in the season for that. But there's enough like outdoorsy stuff that he might like it. Wheezy and Mom see bears when they go for hikes there.
Fancy.
I know. He also might enjoy Asheville. No.
I'll have to mention it to him. So, aside from all that, we still have our Three Waters Farm Spin Along Knit Along, which will go until the end of this month. But Stash Dash ends what day?
Friday.
So you have to have all of your stuff, all of the knitting done by Friday. Is all the posting due that day too?
Ooh, I think so. That's a good question, my dear. I think, yep, that's it. I mean, that is it. So, I'll double check the rules, but I'm pretty sure.
I am not going to make, I might make 5K with the sweater if I manage to make it work. That's as much as I'm going to get. There's no way I'm going to hit 10K, but that's okay. I still got a lot.
It's 11:59 on August 14th.
So that is Friday night. So Friday night, midnight, Central Standard Time?
Yeah. So if you're East Coast, you get an extra hour.
Well, not really, because we didn't get the extra hour at the beginning, so.
Whatever.
And then we'll go through and draw prizes randomly, and I'll go through and add a bunch of stuff to my queue, and...
Yeah. Oh, you should look at the Stash Dash tag on Instagram. It's rockin'.
Awesome. So we are at an hour and a half at this point.
We are. Because we're talkative.
Is there anything else you wanted to discuss this week?
Oh, so I taught at the Memphis Guild Retreat this week, which was lots of fun. I was their keynote speaker, and then I also taught on Saturday, so that was lots of fun. Thank you, everyone who came out. It was wonderful, and I had a wonderful time, and I got to see Meg and her brother from House of Yarn, because they were vendors. And her brother was like, I see you everywhere. I was like, you'll see me, because they're just going to shop at SAF, and I was like, you'll see me there, too. Because they did a pop-up shop for Fringe, because he works for Fringe, at Stitches. They were in someone else's booth, so that was perfect, because he's like, it's perfect because I don't have to go. Which was, he's wonderful in a trip, and I always enjoy Meg a whole lot, and he would have liked to go, but they've been doing show after show after show, so they needed a break. So that was it. That was a great time. So much fun. I got to hang out with Joanne and Gail and Eloise and our friend Kelly, who moved away, who came back just for this. So lots and lots of fun. And a good time was had by all. Memphis Holly was there. Just lots and lots of fun people. Lowell. So lots of good folk.
I know what that point was, and I'm working on it.
No. I have. Yes, but also, she wrote me a check, so I need to get that deposited too.
Well, I think that's it for this week. I know there was an issue with iTunes last week. I don't know what it is, but I'm working on it. So, thank you. A reminder that we are no longer going to be on Blip, which should affect nobody, because you can still get everything.
Let me ask you this. Is it going to affect our blog, like the postings on the blog?
You'll just see a YouTube window instead of a Blip window.
But, like, not the current ones going forward, like the old backlogs. Are we going to have to replace
Oh, God, I hope not.
I bet you we are.
I will go back and read and see. I have all the old files, so it's just the process of uploading. So.
You don't want to upload 260 episodes.
Well, I mean, really, for the most part, everything's cross-posted to YouTube, so I'll just have to go out and replace links.
But was it from the beginning?
No. I mean, it's... probably
like episode 100 on, right?
Something like that, yeah, 100 and something. So it would require some work. But I'll go and look and see. Yay, more stuff to do.
Sorry. I was watching Karen Around the Twist, and she mentioned something the other day, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I have all the old files, so it's not like undoable. It's just I don't want to doable it. So.
This is when we need, like, an intern.
Yes, like an unpaid intern who likes to take a lot of abuse. Okay, seriously, it's time for dinner, so I'm going to say goodbye. Y'all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.